Well, what do you know? It's the Control Your Narrative guy talking about, yep, you guessed it, more Control Your Narrative. So, recently I've made a lot of videos discussing Control Your Narrative and all the different changes going on within the company, with the main changes being that they've basically lost two of their biggest stars and one of their literal co-founders. Braun Strowman and Killer Kross both returned to the WWE after going to Control Your Narrative and completely trashing WWE in promos and videos and segments and whatnot. They've gone right back and returned there, which I'm going to clarify once again, I don't think is a problem. If anything, I support them in their endeavors to chase the bag. A lot of people for some reason think I was like calling Braun Strowman out, saying he betrayed Control Your Narrative or something like that. I don't think that at all. Bro, chase the bag, do what you want. But yeah, CYN actually invaded the NWA, and during that invasion, Strowman wasn't there, and Strowman was then rumored to join, and then on that same day he was rumored, he then debuted, or not the same day, but he debuted very soon after he was rumored to be returning. Re-debuted, I should say, not debuted. But Control Your Narrative's debut in NWA and their invasion of the NWA, it made it look like more of a stable was going to be debuting in the NWA, and there is a Control Your Narrative stable, not like the entire company getting involved. And that made me question whether Control Your Narrative is going to continue as a company or not. And after the Strowman news and whatnot, I kind of figured they will still continue, but it seems though more changes are being made to Control Your Narrative, and maybe Control Your Narrative isn't actually going to last as long as we thought it was. So yeah, in a way we are actually talking about Braun Strowman today, because remember when Braun Strowman tweeted out saying that, or posted something online saying that Control Your Narrative will outlive AEW or something along the lines of that, just something kind of ridiculous? Well, whoopsie daisies. He could end up being the reason for that post being incorrect. Today we're going to be reacting to and discussing EC3's comments that he made in an interview talking about Braun Strowman returning and the current state of Control Your Narrative. Let's go ahead and read the transcripts of what was said in that interview. So yeah, let's go ahead and talk about EC3 Changing His Narrative. This is coming straight from Fightful, who are providing the transcription here. He was speaking to Steve Fall of NBC Sports Boston, and he discussed how plans for Control Your Narrative have changed since Kross and Strowman re-signed with the WWE. He stated the following: "I am a professional and a businessman. When we talk about wild out of the box, something that may or may never work, we're under the agreement understanding that this is a business and the time will come where there might be a decision and we have to do what is best for ourselves. There is no fault, dislike, or regret with that. As far as do I know talks are going on, we didn't need to talk about that because in my mind talks are ongoing all the time with everybody. Any second you get that call. Any second it could happen. It's not something to worry about. With Kross, he's so phenomenal. I have such a deep fondness for his creativity, respect, work ethic, all those things. I would have loved for us to be a three-headed monster of creating crazy. At the same time, we had no guarantees. We're not funded. If this works, it'll be great. If it doesn't, whatever we do together is going to be great. If we revisit later, it's going to be great. We'll have to take care of ourselves and things like that. It's a testament to Control Your Narrative because two guys are going to be pegged as WWE World Champion material in this moment. They came through the process. We're dealing with the ramifications now because when you lose a top name and a draw, the business has to be reevaluated, especially from an outside perspective of our tour. That will not go on as planned. We tried to salvage an opportunity for some of these dates to be maintained, but as is, it was booked based on that availability, which is no longer there. That's okay. Small infrastructure. Is that what we are? This traveling promotion? We could be. Are we ready to be? I don't know. Not allowing the legs to get kicked out underneath. Realizing we can have that. That's a luxury, but we need to build a foundation of what this is, and that's new, youthful, different, undiscovered, or reinventing. I do feel bad Kross didn't get some giant thing like I wrote for Adam because I was so fond of his effort and respect that I didn't do that. But Adam was more on the business end than Kross was initially. If we were 33 business partners, we should have been, but we're not, and that's okay. And that is EC3's statement all about the tour, which apparently is not going ahead as planned. I don't know if that means all the dates or just partial dates or just a partial amount of the dates. Having a scroll through Control Your Narrative's website, it seems as though there are now no upcoming events for sale, so it appears as though the entire tour has now been cancelled. That is rough, man. That is very, very rough. But that's just gonna be it, really. Braun Strowman was easily the biggest name there, and he's a guy that they're not gonna replace. They are not gonna find a free agent who has the same marketability and popularity that Braun Strowman had. This is a guy coming out of the WWE who main evented in WrestleMania, was a world champion, a top merch seller, everything. You're not going to find that in current free agents in wrestling right now. You're not going to find that unless it's Bray Wyatt. And is Bray Wyatt going to join Control Your Narrative? Probably not. Maybe that's a video for the future. Maybe we should talk about Bray Wyatt for Control Your Narrative. Be a good signing for them. Maybe not for him, but probably for them. So from here, I'm kind of interested to see how Control Your Narrative will operate, because I assume they're just going to kind of continue to do what they're doing. Maybe they're using the NWA invasion as a way to kind of build their name up a bit before they do go ahead and go on tour. Just some tidbits from that interview to pick out. I want to first say that I thought it was a good interview. I've watched the full thing, and it is actually a very good interview. I like EC3. I've said this before. I need to clear up. I do like EC3. People think I don't like him just because he runs Control Your Narrative. Don't get me wrong, I think Control Your Narrative isn't great, but I still like EC3. And I respect the fact that he was very open in talking about, the tour getting cancelled, the reasons why, and just talking about the hardships of running a wrestling promotion. Listen, I criticize Control Your Narrative, but I'll never deny the fact that running a wrestling promotion is difficult as hell. One thing I did find funny in the interview, though, was him talking about how, oh, look at this, we have 2 Control Your Narrative names who are going to WWE and being tipped as world champions competing there. They came through the process. No, they didn't go through the Control Your Narrative process. They built their name up in WWE. They are famous because of WWE. If they weren't in WWE, there's a good chance that you probably wouldn't even know them or even have signed them. Maybe Cross because he was on the Indies beforehand and Impact and whatnot. But Strowman, no way. I think it's interesting to see where Control Your Narrative is going to go from here, because EC3 even alluded to it in the interview, saying things like, if this works, it'll be great. If it doesn't work, it'll be great. Alluding to the fact that, hey, it might just not work. One thing I do respect EC3 for, another thing I respect him for, is very similar to how the thing I used to say about Dixie Carter. For all Dixie Carter's flaws, and how really she knew nothing about wrestling and shouldn't have had that much involvement in TNA, she really did believe in TNA. She put a lot of money into it, a lot of time into it. She really believed in it and wanted to succeed, and she did care about the fans. I really believe that, and I see that in EC3 as well, if I'm honest with you. He really does believe in Control Your Narrative, and as not great as I might think Control Your Narrative, is, the guy believes in it, and I can't fault him for that. I've got more content planned for this month. I'm trying to be consistent again. I'm just so bad with consistency since I've gone full time. But more uploads coming out, man. So many videos coming soon. I'm going to have a video soon. I'm going to be recapping what's happened in NWA so far in terms of the Control Your Narrative invasion, like an update video on the invasion of NWA with Control Your Narrative, and yeah, some loads of other stuff talking about Control Your Narrative, some Lucha Underground stuff, some Jim Cornette related content, some interesting stuff coming out on the channel very soon, so stay tuned for that is what I'm going to say. But that is it from me. Check out all my stuff in the description if you want to know where you can find me on other parts of the internet. I'll see you all soon. Goodbye and keep on rolling.